Rich, how did your performance kind of like match up to your training?
I think look, my performance tonight I felt was good. Problem is I was facing an experienced opponent, and that the ref didn't really sort of side with me. There was a few times when there was, I think the problem was probably the first big international. Yet these internationals between say Australia and Moldova or we've got a problem with the press, obviously from Morocco or something.
Hey Rich, do you have things to say for Morocco?
Yeah, no, I love the people of Morocco.
Say we love Morocco!
Just let me finish, please.
Morocco!
Finish. I'll kick you out of my press conference. What I was saying is, the international tour of America was brilliant. The drinking games, I had a great tour of America. I won a lot of tournaments in America in drinking games. I competed with Will on a couple of occasions, and tell them about the Texas game, mate. Get fucked, mate. You come to my conferences again, I'll get the Herald Sun kicked out of Australia. For fuck's sake. Anyway, as I was saying, we had a lot of good games in Pittsburgh. Will and I, probably the first time we played each other was in Pittsburgh in Fox Chapel, for the Fox Chapel Cup, and we played the original game. It was the we played guess what card I have, and if you guess it, I drink, and if you don't, you drink, and I killed Will that night, and like we battled hard. It was an absolute traditional. It was almost. It was.
Are they true the rumours that you didn't turn up, mate?
No, mate. Just let me finish my story.
Are they true that Will got fucking like lucky that night and you didn't?
That is true.
Why didn't she turn up, buddy?
Will couldn't get it up.
Talk about it. Talk about the night, mate. Why didn't she turn up?
Her parents wouldn't let her. But as I was saying about, you want to know?
Also, her parents. You've said something stupid there, mate. You shouldn't have said anything. Right. So why didn't her parents let her go?
Because she's 19. Anyway, do you guys want to know?
That's a fucking load of shit, mate. You're shit. We don't want you for our country.
Okay, get back to New Zealand, buddy. As I was saying, the US tour. The US tour was brilliant. We had some brilliant games at a venue called Shakespeare's, and it was a big international cast, and it was absolutely. It was probably the closest we've had to a World Cup of drinking for a long time. And tonight was brilliant for the game, for this individual game, and I put forth the challenge to Will Parry to come to Australia and play Kings in the Australian Kings League, because it's a brilliant game. I think he'd do very well, and it put him more amongst people who are as good as him, because here he seems he's battling at Schleps, and that's no offence to Greg Schleppy from Pittsburgh, but I think he needs to come and play in the big league, because at the moment he's passed out. He beat me on points and on the cards, but he's drunk and he's passed out. And I think, no, I'm not dissing him at all, but if we're talking about drinking games, you know, it's all about drinking.
I'd just like to ask you a few questions now.
Yes. What paper are you from?
I'm from the Democritus.
Where's that based?
New Times.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
New Times in Prague.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, it's an English-based press,
yeah,
but we study in Czech Republic. Okay, do you think that you can bring the game forward in Australia?
Oh yeah,
rather than bringing the game away from what it really is in the English nation.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you seem to have your own ideas about the game. You don't follow. Well, it seemed obviously.
Well, there's definitely a difference between the Australian and the English game. In England, it's more established, and they've been playing for a lot longer. In Australia, it's a sport that's up and coming, and we're working really hard. We've set up a couple of academies. There's one in Adelaide and there's one in Geelong, just outside of Melbourne, for kids to go to. We've got kids. We've got a kid who's 7. Actually, he's from Collingwood. Actually, in Melbourne. And he's showing so much potential. He beat the New South Wales champion the other day.
You certainly seem very happy about that. I mean, when you speak about it, hey, please, can you sit back? Can you
Sorry,
sit back?
I'm sorry, but you know,
you obviously seem very happy about that because when you talk about can you mention his name? Is that okay?
Phil Rubenstein.
Phil Rubenstein. When you
Junior.
When you mention Phil's name, you certainly seem to be filled with glee and his potential. Would you look? Can I just ask you a question? We in England.
All we want to know, mate, are you sleeping with him?
Please, can you step away from the press conference? This is a post-match interview. Please step away. What? Hang on, please stop. Please, yeah, thank you. When you mention Phil's name, could you kind of relate him to any former champions?
No, the reason I laugh when I think of Phil, he's only 7 for starters.
Yes.
He's also got a really bad a disability where his hands are constantly on his shoulder blades.
You found that funny, mate?
No, I'm sorry. You have not taken that. You seem to be upset about that. You seem to be crying. You seem to be. If we can stop the tape.
No. He's an absolute trooper, and I think that one day he'll win the World Cup. When this sport gets its act together, and the sporting bodies of England, sporting bodies of Scotland, France, Moldova, and Australia get their max.
Don't cry, please, Richard. Don't cry.
And it upsets me so much that we have press from another country who cannot handle themselves in a press. Look, I've come a long way for this. I'm doing this for a mate.
Is there anything you can say about the mate?
Who? My mate. For my mate. You know what I was playing for today?
Who?
My friend Matthew Scanlon. He's in Perth. I've got 2 fingers tied to my left leg. It's a special thing, and it's a special relationship and he's the only one that knows about it. I can't, and you're going to ask questions, but what I was saying is that I'm lobbying the Melbourne government at the moment for Commonwealth Games in Australia next year. I'm pushing for the game to be played in Australia next year.
That's a fantastic kind of tribute to the game.
I feel if we can get, we get Commonwealth status, we can get Olympic status.
Rich, what have you got to say about the champion?
He played very well, and he is a true champion. He's a champion, and I thank him for inviting me here tonight. I feel if the police were involved tonight and you looked at the BAC, the blood alcohol content, I would have won hands down. But I'm a bigger guy, and I think he proved why he's the British champion. He proved why he's the European champion tonight.
Sorry,
Will Parry proved why he's the Northern Hemisphere champion.
He's the world champion, Rich. I mean, I don't.
I think tonight he is the world champion.
I think you're the loser.
I'm not a loser.
Sorry. Can the Indian press wait for the press conference after this?
I'm not Sachin Tendulkar, mate. Get over it.
So Rich, have you got anything to say to the fans? That you've got massive fan bases here in England. I mean, the champ has many fans. But you may have noticed this extended interview has been for your big fan bases here. I mean, you have a lot of young men after your talent you're big in the Southern Hemisphere. Do you think you can make it in the Northern Hemisphere?
I feel I've already made it. The fact that the champion invited me here, the fact that I took the Ukraine Moldova by storm. And I must admit it was a mistake going there, but I was really happy when I beat the German champion Gustav Schlimm.
No, also known as Danny Stieg.
No, Gustav Schlimm.
I thought Danny Stieg was the champion.
He beat Stieg.
Oh wow, sorry, I apologise. Danny Stieg was the champion for 4 years.
And then I went to Krakow and I beat Mariusz. And when I beat Mariusz, I knew I was ready. I went up to Dundee and had a couple of games there. I destroyed Owen, absolutely destroyed the one they called Stret.